really uncovered one of these. So here we're going to apply the learn and lose method. Oh man, bro. I hope the owner of this device doesn't see this video, bro, because if she does, imagine she's gonna have a heart attack, huh? So first we're gonna plug it in and see what's wrong with it. So we're gonna turn it on. Well, apparently it's toxic, bro. I mean, it doesn't do anything. Let's see if the clown doesn't tell me that, bro. Hold on, bro. I think it's a false contact here in the extension. So we're gonna turn it on once more. Aw, look, now it's starting to work, bro. But here's a detail, bro. Look at this. Look, you see it's working here. But now I can definitely stop the mixer, bro. What does this mean? Okay, it has an internal problem, so we're gonna disconnect it and take it apart. And for that, we're going to use a Phillips screwdriver and remove the rear screw that holds this belt. Right, my brother? I was checking my statistics a while ago, and it turns out that we have a huge audience from the United States, bro. So my people in the United States, I send a huge greeting to your brother, the turkey chop. My brother. Well, once the belt is removed, we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that are on this side. And once the 4 screws are removed, very carefully, we're going to lift the top cover. And well, look, my brother, here we basically have the entire mechanism that makes up this mixer internally. What does it consist of? A motor, an electronic board, and a transmission box. This that you see here is the motor, and since it's an industrial blender, it's logical that the motor is big, it's logical. This here is the electronic board, which is what's in charge of regulating the speeds. And this one here is the transmission box, which is basically what transfers all the power from the engine to the blades or mixers. So my brother, we're gonna focus precisely on the latter. Look, before disassembling it, we're gonna connect it and do a test. As you can see here, the engine is already working, but now the part where the mixers go isn't moving. But if I apply a little upward force, it starts to move. So once again, we're going to disconnect it and disassemble the transmission box. Once the screws are removed from the transmission box, we're going to lift it very carefully because sometimes the gears get stuck, they get dislodged, and then we don't know how to put it back together. Oh man, you've seen all the wear and tear it has here. And we caused this ourselves because we put more torque into it than is technically specified. This part is known as the pinion, and apparently this is where the wear is. Right. But to be 100% sure, once again, we're going to connect it and turn it on. Well, look, here we can basically see the problem it has. So we're going to try to disassemble that gear that's swept. So first, we're going to remove this gear that you see here, being very careful because sometimes when removing it, oh, that's enough, man. The pieces fly off. I'm going to remove some of the grease that it has here because there's a safety catch underneath that we're also going to remove. And to remove that safety catch, we're going to use these tweezers. Here, it's important that the tips of the tweezers are well inserted into the hole of the safety catch. And here we have it. So now we're going to disassemble the upper gear. And as you can see, underneath the gear that we removed, there's another safety catch that's known as a pin, so we're going to remove that as well. And once the pin is removed, we're going to try to remove the gear. It often happens that sometimes they're a little stuck. Well, look, here we can clearly see the wear it has. But what do you think, my friend? It turns out that there's something else that's also damaged in this blender. So we're going to order the gear mechanism. Well, what do you think, my captain? Well, this part has arrived. Well, we already have the part here. But it's not just that, well, the part has arrived, let's put it together, and that's it. No, champ, we have to clean each of the gears to try to eliminate all the metal shavings left by the previous part. Yeah. In this case, I'm going to use a solvent to try to eliminate all that grease. Hey, why don't you just put the gear on? No, daddy. Look, when a part wears out, the grease gets full of microscopic metal particles, and if you don't remove them, those particles act like internal sandpaper, accelerating the wear of gears and bearings, or bushings. Metals trapped in old grease can jam bearings, create hot spots, cause noise or buzzing, or reduce the useful life of components. Miru? That's why when it comes to transmissions, the work can be a little more expensive. And we're not afraid to get our hands covered in grease because there are even some people out there who say no, that since I make videos, I don't get my hands dirty anymore and that I've become a chore. No, to hell with it, bro. We keep working, and even if we get this far, bro, we're never gonna lose our essence. Well, look, my brother. Now, it looks nice, it looks clean, it looks ready to get started, but the cleaning isn't just about the gears, but also the upper cover of the transmission case, which, by the way, also has a gear, hamai. So let's repeat the same process we did at the beginning. My cool people, if you like this content, daddy, don't forget to leave me a big thank you in the comments, and also don't forget to share this information so that many people reach it, because I'm sure it can help more than one. Now, to wipe away any excess solvent, the one I'm using to get rid of the grease, I am using some toilet paper. Look, here we can clearly see all that burr left by the other damaged piece, so we have to remove all that too. Diddy. That's why I'm requesting authorization from the World Council of Men to replace my work shirt. Some say that it can be fixed with a patch, and others say that it's a vent. And once all the components have been cleaned and all that grease has been removed, we're going to assemble our transmission and apply new grease, because this important process will determine whether this device lasts for years, or whether it's thrown away later, or whether it's thrown away. And imagine, let's suppose that I put the new gear in without cleaning it first, and then it fails a month later, bro. Who do you think they're going to complain to, bro? Well, me. And this is where anyone who calls themselves a mechanic, a technician, or someone who repairs anything, well, now they really do start to have their guarantees just for wanting to save time and not follow such an easy but at the same time laborious process. Udo it. Because yes, I'll be honest with you, this one is taking me at least 4 hours or maybe more. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to tighten the screws on the transmission box. And once the screws are tightened properly, we're going to assemble the top cover of the blender. We're going to put the belt on and connect the screw that holds it in place. We're going to turn it on and see what happens.
Juega en Play Do It Casino en línea del 11.